And we are live. Hi, everybody. We are back on more of our little venture into Tolstad after we had gone through a lot already. And yeah, just kind of hopping into it, as it were. So let me just go ahead and change the capture real quick. Boop. And then not to overlay. And then change that, turn that on, and it should be good now. Yes, perfect. All right. So yeah, last we left off here, if I remember correctly, we had talked to an eldritch monster in the city below. So that was fun. And we unlocked the ability to fast travel, which is even better. So that's really fun. And there are still some loose threads to do, but we only have like one day, I think, before the election. So yeah, and it's like in-game 1 a.m., so I probably should send Snell to bed. Or go to bed myself. But yeah, hope you're all doing okay. I had a long day at the Long Day Factory, and I also then saw a couple bits of news that was like really nicely interesting and had me honestly a little excited. One of those being that the second season for Batman the Caped Crusader has a trailer now, and it's apparently coming out a lot sooner than I thought. So for those that don't know, or may not know about it, Batman Caped Crusader is a Batman series that was helmed by Bruce Timm as producer, and he was producer for a lot of the more famous DC adaptations you've seen, like Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, like all of those DCAU stuff, he did. That was a full day. Feels like tomorrow's got even more in store. I'll catch you in the morning, cleric. You stand alone in the tower. So, yeah, what happened was this new series comes out and gets some pretty decent reception through, unfortunately Amazon, but it's still got a good show to it. Cast is really good, and it's kind of returned to that more Art Deco 1920s to 40s kind of aesthetic that the original animated series had. Like, and when I say original animated series, I mean like the Batman the Animated Series that didn't have like the crossovers with other superheroes, like pre-New Adventures of Superman or New Adventures of Batman era. Like the era of Batman the Animated Series where he had like the yellow on his costume and Dick Grayson was his Robin, like that era. So pretty neat to see that, this new thing from Bruce Timm's actually doing pretty well. Because if I remember right, the last time that Bruce Timm was involved in a project with Batman, oh boy, people were not happy with it. For good reason, I'd say. It was a gross situation with the Killing Joke. It really was. Like, it was gross and the movie wasn't even that good, unfortunately. But Caped Crusader seems to be a lot better. It has probably the best adaptation of Harley Quinn I think I've ever seen. And that's coming from, I don't really like Harley Quinn to start with too much. But this new incarnation is just way more interesting for me. Like, I had so much fun looking at this series and being like, oh man, I like the interpretations of the characters here. Really cool stuff. Like with the Penguin, with Harvey Dent, with Catwoman, but Harley Quinn. Oh my god, I love how they did Harley Quinn in that show. So good. And it's got me excited about who else they'll be pulling in. It seems like season 2 is really ramping up having the Riddler, no, not Scarecrow. That's the other Batman thing that got announced. Definitely Riddler. Riddler is like the top one that is the excitement point. And the Joker got teased. I don't know who's voicing him, but we're going to have to wait and see on how the Joker is. This Joker that I saw in that trailer, though, seemed a lot more subdued. Like, seemed a lot more, like, contemplative rather than maniacal. No Bane. That's the other Batman thing that got announced that I'll talk about shortly, but yeah, new Cape Crusader stuff, pretty cool. Love to see that. I liked Cape Crusader. It was pretty damn nice. So I'm excited to see what else they might bring to the table there. All right, let's lie down, actually. Okay. You close your eyes to begin this desperate plea for sleep. The strings you follow are all tangled around this endless pillar spiked through the heart of the city. Helping out the Asgalists, helping Medusa push her rhetoric across the party line. Keep going like this and you'll end up a true dialectician, I think. Finally, to enter the pillar, you must perform a most challenging esoteric task. Travel to the beyond. There are many esoteric beings on Tolstad, some of whom are already known to you. One of them will surely assist you. Is this your last night on Tolstad? Is this your last night alive? Oh, right! We learned that as the sun sets over your beloved city, you know one thing true. I'll explain in a second. It is time to enter the pillar. So what we also learned last time was that the person that shoved us off from the edge of the bridge and nearly killed us by drowning was Nicholas Darrow's daughter, because apparently she had signed a pact with the warlock, with the eldritch being we encountered in the sewers or the city below, and had been taking jobs for him, and one of those apparently was trying to kill us. And the reason why this eldritch monster decided that killing us was the way forward, he just kind of goes like, I heard a prophecy that kind of related to you, and that was basically the end of it. So, yeah. One day remaining. This is it. My last day to finish this. The final day. Everything ends today. Or begins, depending on your perspective. Depending on which party wins this foolish democratic process. Alright, so I kind of had to do a little bit the bullet and looked up the solution to the Sphinx's riddle, because I was thinking that she was referring to the, I was thinking that she was referring to the city below and that wall mural that cursed us to death, but no, apparently it's in the Drunken Sphinx, so oops. So we're going to go straight to the Drunken Sphinx to take care of that, because it apparently involves the stage that the Sphinx is lying down on and drinking her wine barrel. I did not know I could actually go up on that. I thought that was just an impassable area. All right. A grand entrance or exit. Pick me up. Regain 1d4 hit points. Like, how was I supposed to guess that? I thought this was impassable. Because, you know, you've got this big character here I didn't know. Grow now. Be gone. Can I just walk through this? All right. I can walk through it, but nothing happens. And yeah, we also got thaumaturgy, which lets us have weird little supernatural abilities. The Sphinx takes a sip. The Beyond. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, A deck. You are holding a deck. A deck of cards? Yes. A deck of cards. It feels heavy in your hands. There's death in this deck. You sense an overwhelming power looking at you. A voice in the beyond telling you, commanding you, to close your eyes. Why should I? The darkness wins. You do as it asks. Or perhaps the darkness simply accepted you as its own, as it envelops the rest of you. What? The deck of cards is still with you. Should I draw from it? You could do that. But it is wiser to not. Am I dead? No, not this time. But you have been moved. Ho-ho! As you do, you find yourself on the floor of the tavern. Yeah, like, I was assuming that the solution for the riddle was down below in the city below. Because I would not have expected this. And again, I thought this was impassable because of, I don't know, it made me think there would be an invisible wall or something, or I'd get in trouble for going up there. As you do, you find yourself on the floor of the tavern. The Genosphinx sips on her wine barrel and laughs at you. You found it then? How interesting. In front of you, on the ground, you see that fancy zinc container. The deck of many things is yours. Do with it as you please. The deck of many things, a legendary magic item. Many have been documented in various history books since the Gate War, but they are seldom spotted in the wild these days. Pick it up. All right, the deck of many things. That is your reward, yes. But firstly, I must congratulate you. Very well done, cleric, for solving my riddle. It was very confusing. I imagine you would think that, yes. As in it wasn't very well designed. I'll pretend I didn't hear that. She sips on her wine. Yeah, because, like, so much of the language in this game was talking about, like, below, everything is below, and I thought the solution to this was below. And again, didn't know I could go up there. She sips on her wine. The esoteric challenge of it is the biggest hurdle, of course. And while I want to avoid inflating that ego of yours, little one, you do have quite the mastery over strings. Or, at the very least, some type of natural inclination. The tower's taught me a lot. That is very humble of you. She purrs out her next sentence as she leans in. Now, as for the deck. Yeah? Yes. I am destined to warn you, cleric. There are few who have drawn those cards. Some will spell fortune, some death. It is the biggest gamble of your life, and you will never know the true odds. If you are willing to throw everything away, to grasp for that small sliver of potential, then draw. Otherwise, I suggest leaving it be. Once you do draw, or rather once you stop drawing, it will return to the confines of the vault. How many cards can I draw? As many as you wish. But remember, several of them will either kill you or completely destroy your life. So, I suppose it's more like until you draw one of those. Wait, do you know what all the cards do? Some of them. I've been around for quite a while after all. But I'm not allowed to say much. I can just tell you some of the highs and lows. Fortune or death. Can I sell it? Certainly. Perhaps that is the only way to guarantee a somewhat good result. For yourself, at least. But yes, it is yours to do with as you please. What happens if someone else solves the riddle while I have the deck? They get the second prize, of course. A dumb Sphinx joke incoming. What's that? A date with me. Really? You're messing with me. You're messing with me. Yes, little one. She lets out a quick chortle. If anyone were to solve it before you've used it up, the deck will simply be teleported back. leaving your draws forfeit. So there's a time limit? Not in stone, but yes. I always imagined that was to keep anyone from just placing it in their own vault, you know? But it's not like people are solving my riddles every day here. You have time. Do not worry. What if I go around telling people how to solve the riddle? You think I give everyone the same riddle? That one was custom made for you, cleric. Wow, then I'm really fucking stupid. Well, I don't know. Because again, I didn't know I could go up here. A Genosphinx original. Be happy. I put in so much effort for you. Thanks for the info. I will consider it. I need help entering the Pillar of Jor. Now that I see. How mysterious. Small request, but since you have proven yourself worthy, perhaps a gate shall be braved by this mortal, despite the era. She smiles. Thank you, it is appreciated. Don't get ahead of yourself. She puts down her wine barrel. Each gate has an attunement, a fine attunement, a very specific series of strings. One way to sneak in through the cracks is to carry a key, one attuned to those strings. Bring me a gemstone, cleric, an emerald to be precise. I shall attune it to the pillar's gate, allowing you to pass through. Where can I find one of those? Good question. They are quite expensive, after all. But unless you've got the funds, I suppose I would suggest looking in the, what you people call, city below. There are many treasures hidden there. An emerald? Yes, a green gemstone. I'm sure you'll know when you find it. That stone in particular holds a special connection with this pillar, for reasons I am not aware of, but I can use it well. And you'll turn it into a key? More or less, yes. That doesn't sound too complicated. She shrugs. I will go and find those gemstones. I wish you luck then, cleric. You have not encountered any emeralds so far. However, perhaps one could be discovered in the city below. I'll be going. All right. All right. My curiosity is going to kill me. There's got to be a dice roll attached to this. You take out the deck of many things. It is heavy in your hands. One card juts out invitingly as you hold it up. Is it dangerous to draw a card? Yes. Each card can break you or bring you fortune. You know what? I want to do this with Snell in the party. Okay, but we have at least a better objective on this. Either find a scroll according to Viskin, join up with the monster in the city below to be a warlock and gain the ability to teleport in the pillar through that, or get an emerald for the Sphinx. I'm going to see if I can find an emerald, because I feel like if I talk to the mushroom man, he can help me out. No, I don't want to do augury. Down here. Oh, wait, we got lingonberries while we were here, so I can go help out, I can go give them to Lisa. She wanted lingonberries. Morning, cleric. The goblin rubs his eyes. You ready to head out? I usually head out about this time, so yeah, I'm ready. I'm sure Tyr is too, if we head down again. Alright. Let's talk to Sage Leaf. Let's report some things. Alright, nothing else. Nothing else about this. Alright, first thing, before I forget the lingonberries, because we got them in the city below. Yeah, I feel silly on one end of it, but also, like, regarding the yeah, I don't know. Y'all know. I just didn't understand that. Twin Tongues of Flame, it didn't register to me that I could go up there. Huh? You stare at the barrels. Yeah, those sure are barrels. Yeah. Because, like, I thought I couldn't get up here. So, oh well. Alright, so... Slow as a snail. Jump. Yeah, we already did all this. Ugh. Also, wait, hold on. We got a questing tree thing. There. Take root. A great esoteric mystery. A conundrum. The Millennium Vault. Guarded by a really riddled, crazed sphinx. There is no other type of sphinx. If you count the good ones. The secrets within are hidden within the darkness. But you saw the light ahead. Yeah, after I had to look it up. Like, I didn't know what was in it, but I realized, like, but I looked it up and they just said, like, the thing I said, said, go up the stage and light the pillars with dancing lights and then use Druidcraft. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was what I was supposed to do. That was a pillar. Of Jor? Think about that big light you saw in the darkness of the vault. Yes. What other pillars are there? I'm sure there's many, but... It was a pillar, one of the 4, reaching through the earth, through the coast. But it was entirely made out of light. That is its true form. It is not material in nature. It goes beyond. Remember what the gods did, the true gods did, when they arrived in this realm? They attempted to destroy Jor, for selfish or selfless reasons, no matter which, that is what they did. But if Jor controls his gates, it only makes sense from the purely strategic viewpoint that those gods would be desperate to manufacture their own pathways, their own gates. The vault is a gate to the beyond? Exactly. If these gods had their own gates, then why are they shut? Why place a sphinx to guard this one? Why place a, relatively speaking, simple magic item inside as some type of reward? It does not appear reasonable. Maybe someone else took over the vault when the outer gods are forced out? What if Ulz is just fucking around? Is the Deck of Many Things a key of some kind? A clue to the real nature of the vault? Could I have gone deeper? Could the vault be an actual gate to the worlds beyond? We can do all these, so... someone took over? If that is the case, and this gate is used by some type of storage facility, that would be rather silly. Then again, it is currently used as a permanent storage facility for that Deck of Many Things, which is rather silly. Gods can be pretty silly, after all. They can. Gods are just as flawed as their followers. Maybe Ulzis is just fucking around. She could have been abandoned by her gods, left alone, in a world without purpose. She could have gone insane, coping via riddles while helming this role as guardian of this vault, a vault without a master. However, it appears unlikely. Her role may very well be self-appointed, but you have collected no evidence of her irrationality. Though she will clearly never share the truth with you, if there is another truth to be shared, not now at the very least. Is the Deck of Many Things a key of some kind, a clue to the real nature of the vault? That could be the case. The Deck of Many Things is an item with a very high degree of randomness involved with the outcomes. Whoever placed it there could have done it to play around Play a proverbial prank on the mortals who reach inside. Or it could be a test. If fate is to be the deciding factor, perhaps fate is the key to finding the correct card in the deck. Either way, your life is far too precious to throw away at such a dangerous game. Do not draw any card at all, if you act in any way as smart as you are. Could I have gone deeper? Could the vault be an actual gate to worlds beyond? No. The boundaries of that place were tightly knit. The strings were all around you, holding you in place. The vault is a piece of the beyond. For whatever reason, you were not allowed to use it as anything but. I won't get any real answers, will I? You will not. However, if you keep thinking about it, you will eventually come to a conclusion. You are a genius, after all. Simply keep scribbling in the margins, keep working on your esoteric knowledge, and the truth will be revealed. Honestly, this whole thing just makes it obvious. This is about magic items. The deck of many things, sure, but also all the other shit you collect. You've got one hell of a collection with strings, right? Well, maybe that visit in the vault gave you exactly what you needed to connect even more. Like a ley line hook. Millennia Guardian. Sphinx holding the beyond. Your body is deeply entwined, pierced. Cool blood. Enhance your body further. Drink more potions. You could also follow the triangle. The positive tingle. Or not triangle. Why the fuck did I say triangle? Tingle. The positive tingle. As your body collapses, your breath is lost, and your feet fall into the earth. Your healing will always be there to bring you back. Also, the ad break's actually going to start like in a minute. Your magic hands. Your empathetic, magical hands. Creepy, idiotic. Focus on research. Power through knowledge. Not by filling yourself with hag liquids or giving your soul to only positive forces. Understand it. Wield it. Master it. That is the path to learning the truth. Tell me more about the ley line hook. Wear more magical shit and get even more in tune with the esoteric. It's not that complicated. Alters ability score modifiers on trinkets. Modifiers get... Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's either a +1 or a negative. +1 or a -1 for a net positive or negative on that. Interesting. All right, we'll read about the rest of these, though, after the ad break. So 3 minutes and then an hour of no pre-rolls after. So hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do. BRB, everybody. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. All right. We'll hydrate first, then we'll learn about the rest of these feats that we see here. Tell me more about the Millennia Guardian. Your body is a temple. Fill it with esoteric flow. The effects from potions are doubled for ability scoring. Oh! Positive tingle. Heal everyone. Let that become your mastery. Healing spells are rolled with twice the normal amount of... Oh, that's really good. And scribble the margins. Never stop working. Always focus on learning more. Your cleric level is doubled when calculating the amount of spells you can prepare. Definitely not ley line hook. Either positive tingle or scribble the margins. I think I'm going to go positive tingle because frankly, like, I've not been using my spells a whole lot. Like, there's not been a reason to, since this isn't a very combat-centric game, nor one where spells have factored into conversations too much. Positive tingle. The world will thank you. As will your poor bones. All right. And another level up. Let's go with a boost to my dexterity. In the event that there's another combat encounter, having better dex is always nice. All right. Can you make me a wand? I have lingonberries. Oh! The hagling looks them over, her face scrunched. These are fresh. She sniffs them. Real fresh. Where did you buy them? I plucked them below. You actually went all the way down to the ridge. Highly impressive. She tosses the berries into the cauldron, momentarily causing a green piece of sludge to fly up, and then down again. Then Lisa walks over to her oven, taking a small piece of firewood, a twig from its creaking hatch. Crick and crack, wood wakes to feel. The hagling dips the tip of the twig, not the wig, the twig. Murmur, murmur, shimmer, hearts unseal. She drops it in entirely, the liquid lighting up into a blinding flash. Touch it once, touch it twice, it knows what you conceal. It's an intense esoteric aura. Wand of, what'd that say, empathy? There we go. Goosebumps. Not exactly ideal. The chaotic power of the hag has barely stabilized within the wood. Alas, it will help some. You can already feel how it grants you insight. This is exactly what you need. Time to make people smile. Lisa gives you one of her biggest cackles yet. One of my best. Only a minor wand, of course, but considering I pulled that out of my ass, you should be very happy with the results. I'm very happy, thank you. You're welcome, etc., etc. Now, go enjoy your little toy, cleric, unless you want to become a hag or something. I could become a hag? No, that was a joke. Even if you didn't have so much penis, no grown person has ever become a hag. A good, stable hag, at least. Men should be allowed to be hags, too. I think I understand. Good, because it's really not that complicated. She takes an iron ladle from the oven area and starts to stir the pot once more. Now, if there's nothing else, that's all for now. So what does this do? Wand of... Did that say wand of empathy? Yeah. A wand, the weapon of choice for a hag. This one seems broken, however, because it causes whoever is wielding it to always wear a wicked grin. Like, very wicked. +3 to charisma. That's pretty good. Alright, well, the first thing Wait, hold on. Was there another... Okay, I don't think so. I'm gonna do a dedicated save and look at the deck of many things. Save. There we go. And then inventory. And then deck of many things. Hey, Snell? Yeah? You know what this is? A dangerous magic item? Not... How perceptive of you. Oh, I was correct. I sure hope you weren't expecting me to draw a card. No, not at all. I suggest you also shouldn't draw one, cleric. At least not until we've finished our business here, alright? But I kind of want to. You're your own man, cleric. I won't stop you. I'm just very much suggesting that you don't esoteric yourself into another state of being. That state being dead. Did he just use esoteric as a verb? What a travesty. Let's draw cards. Are you certain? Statistically, according to legends, it would be an incredibly stupid idea to do so. However, if you must, then to reiterate, if your first card is a negative, draw one more, then stop. That should minimize your chances of getting something decent out of it, or maximize your chances of getting something decent out of it. Draw cards. The vellum material of the card feels light as you grab it. You hear a whisper, a groan. A deep, unnerving part of you is screaming to throw everything away through miraculous fate. You flip it over. It says, balance. You feel an urge to say one of 6 sentences. You must speak. Now. I want to be strong, quick, durable, smart, wise, loved. I want to be wise. And what will you give up? Don't want to be durable. balance is achieved. Huh? Did something just change? An esoteric event, surely. Feel different. Right. Well, maybe you should stop there. Draw another card. It says gem. With a poof, the card disappears out of your hand, replaced by a heavy, fancily embroidered bag. Inside you find an amber nickels. You know intuitively how much money you hold. The coin's worth exactly 50,000 crowns. 50,000 crowns! Oh! Look at that. You got a good one. Congrats. You're rich, cleric. Look at these shiny coins. You struck it big, baby. Holy shit. Agreed. Now you just gotta keep this money safe in your little pouch of holding and invest it. Invest! Make it grow! Is my life going to change now? It's not that much money, but it's a first step towards real wealth. Generational wealth, which includes creating new generations. Time to spread that seed, man. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm now the richest person ever, and I'm gonna have generational wealth for the rest of my life. Time to have kids with reckless abandon. No, fuck off. Ew. Exactly. I'm rich? Well, relatively speaking. 50K? That's enough cash to... The goblin thinks about it for a few seconds as you revel in your wealth. A real expensive manor apartment is like 1,000 a month to rent, right? Something like that. So with this, you could live in one for 10 years or so. That's a good amount of money, cleric. What should I do with this money? There's magazines in the kiosk. There's merchants on the streets. But right now, just keep it. Don't want to alert anyone that you're in the upper class just yet. Stop here, I've had enough. As you mentally decide not to draw another card, the deck appears to react to it. The card jutting out retracts in an instant. Then the zinc begins to glow faintly blue. Then with a quick pop, the deck and all the remaining cards suddenly disappear from your grip. No fanfare, no esoteric particles. It just went out of existence. Your companion taps you on the shoulder. Good choice. Or, well, the good choice would have been to not draw at all. But it wasn't the worst choice to stop while you were ahead. That's that. Forget this weird experience. Wow, 50,000... It said gem, and I got excited because I thought that would be the emerald, and I'm like, did the game just shortcut me? No. Actually, wait, I can do the land investment with this water elemental now. Actually, wait, hold on. Is that even, like... It is. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. I actually have 50,000 on me. Alright, pour in 10,000. The many coins sink into the depths of the lake. The elemental swirls with satisfaction, and a piece of paper floats to the surface. It is done. These waters, this land, is yours. May you find what you seek in the deep places. Sweet. Good way to spend your vast fortune. I feel like I might regret this in a couple of years. I'm sure you already do. The elemental in the water slowly ripples out, fading off into the crevices of the cave. The voice is no more. I guess that's it. Look at your wet piece of paper. Hold on. Let's really examine this. A deed for a cave. Not sure if it's legally binding, but man, the growth potential, the absolute optionality. You're gonna be rich. I mean, unless we find deposits of some kind that might be worth as like a product to sell out to people, but no, like if there's truly nothing on the land besides a cave and what was a water elemental, there's not gonna be a shot in hell for me to be able to get anything out of that. Okay, so I've got bark skin. We got a fair amount of other spells since the last time we were here. Okay, that was... Where the fuck is the thing? I'm lost. Hold on. It was like this way, I think. Yes, it was this way, and then hook a turn here. Wait, no, that's the wrong direction. No, this led to somewhere else. This led down here. God, has it really been that long that I forgot where I'm... You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. We have a fast travel point. I shouldn't be taking the long way. Because walking's for chumps. Alright. Travel to the Undercoast path. Okay, that's done. Let's find an emerald. So the first thing I want to do, I've got comprehend languages on me, so I think it would be a good idea to talk to our mushroom friend to see if he's found any emeralds for us. Or, he thanks you from the bottom of his heart, defeating somewhat cool. Maybe you can leave him be. He copies your reaction, giving a thumbs up high. Well, that's cute. I don't want to pilfer his apples. You approach the shrine. Okay, that's where we prepare spells. Where is an emerald? Because if I go back to the path that I took that got me down here, I won't be able to really explore any further down passageways that way. There is also this. Lovely helmet. Fade era. Oh, I'm thinking. Alright, hold on. Let's do a quick save. Because I want to get this thing. Actually, wait. Wasn't there something that I had that let me get better on, I either need to increase my dex or something. Hold on. Dexterity. Yeah, trifling. Let's equip that. And weapon won't go there. Okay, in that case. Okay, with a 19 dex, that should help a lot. There we go. Successful pilfer. Alright, let's put all this stuff back to where we had it. You know what? Let's have the wand equipped. I want to see what happens with that. Ancient helm. The overgrown helm of a Fade era soldier. This was a time when every combatant wore magic items from top to toe. +2 wisdom, -1 charisma, -1 constitution. It's pretty badass looking. Okay, where was my lockpick? Oh, wait, no, it wasn't the lockpick, it was this. I had that equipped. Okay. With that, still gotta find an emerald. Because I can't think of any merchants that... We have not encountered a single merchant that would have an emerald for us. Alright, let's go in here. I don't think there was one here either. Hmm? You approach the magic circle. Each of the 4 stones around it are glowing. This is the place. The goblin looks around. Looks clear, I think. Isk Urum. It is broken. The seal is unleashed. What? Oh, right. We freed a bunch of prisoners and stuff. I forgot about that bit. It's, Snail. Snail takes a few more steps back. Uh-huh. Hello up there? You then watch as this snail folk of a bygone era slams into the ground. Stare at it. You watch the creature shake and snivel, its flabby skin moving about freely, its glistening surface reflecting the light. That staff, it holds immense power. Look at the shell. It is covered in trinkets, books, vials, and all manner of esotericals. There is no doubt, this is a wizard of the highest degree. Look at the staff. It gives off a faint glow in the dark of the temple. A Gate-era artifact. A magic staff befitting for a wizard such as yourself. Holy shit, that stick would go for a fortune on the market. Could you imagine? Pristine staff of great power left in stasis for millennia. What a payday! Prepare to approach the strange snail. Let's behold him. They shine. Oh, I don't have a behold of the character? I'm saving again, hold on. I really have a lot to say in terms of compliments to the game's setting. It's so fascinating to just encounter things. The snail lifts his head. Flop? Inte forsta, no comprendo. Excuse me? So this is what the Tulinkata look like. Yalu. The snail holds up his open hand, 4 fingers stretched out. Then he twists them with a snap. There we go. That should be better. I always keep a tongue prepared for this specific situation. Nothing as awkward as dealing with foreign dignitaries? Yeah, dignitaries when you've run out of Jor slots. I am Isk Urum, cord puller of the Tulin Empire, master of the path, servant of Jor, lore researcher, a diplomat of peace. He lowers his soft head all the way to the ground. I'm Ron, greetings. By Jor, do not worry, Mr. Ron Cleric. I am not poisonous, nor do I hold any ill will. Beware, he is reading your mind. Apologies, I cannot help it. What? That's not the kind of phrasing I'd use, but yes. Snail squints and stares at you both. Hold on, is this some kind of wizard thing? Green One, you do not appear to be as loud on the strings as your iron friend here. The snail leans on his staff. I cannot help but hear everything you think, Cleric. It was Cleric, was it not? It is. And greetings, Tolin. Ah, a celestial? Grand! You spirits sure do come in all shapes and sizes. What a fascinating meeting we have here. Now, The snail man looks around, leaning on his staff. My mind seems to have slipped a bit. You couldn't care for some exposition? Be careful what you think. He'll hear it. He hears things. He hears this right now. What's the last thing you remember? His eyes retract, close to the base as he mutters. Oh no. I was on trial. For what? I doomed us all to the flames of Esuth. It was entirely my fault. What did you do? I made a deal with the Red One. He mutters to himself, trying to remember. It is difficult to read his body language for obvious reasons. However, you get the feeling as he recalls more, he grows more shaken. Esuth, the great dragon of Tuil Am, our band. I was the diplomat who enacted the plan of peace. We invited the dragon for an exchange of knowledge. Truth is, I was greedy. I wanted those strange draconic techniques. The power words. Dragons use magic through speech alone. The spells you cast are derived from those same methods. I was not alone in my hubris, nor did I set this plan in motion myself, but it was me who put it in motion. The snail reads my mind, so why do I even bother making a choice of what to say? He's listening to this right now. Isn't he? Blah, 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 blah. It's like that Simpsons bit of going like, I know you can hear my thoughts, boy. Meow, 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 meow. What happened? Please stop. That's fun. Now you can annoy someone with your mind. Sorry, go on. The snail man looks pointedly around the room. Or at least you think he does. It's more of a gurgling sound. I am personally responsible for the deaths of approximately 50,000 to 100,000 of my kin. Oh fuck. The destruction of the Tulinkatl. Yes, that is what it was. Esuth went back on his word. He used his unorthodox magic to disrupt our many, many mages. He then burned the entire city. The towers fell, the screams, the heat. So, like, the thing that ruined all the basis of Norvik, yes. The goblin also stares at the snail man. How did you survive? Oh, the same way the rest did. We were, as they say, lucky. We were not close enough to his anti-magic, so I could resist his stunning shriek. We fled downwards. As Esuth claimed our city as his new throne, we fled even deeper. A few thousand of us, the ones who remained, we hid in... He taps his staff onto the tiles. This place. It is where we kept our foulest prisoners. It became a base in which we organized resistance. Although some were not so keen to work with someone like me, a traitor. How long were you down here? Months. It did not take long for a divide to build. What did you do here? Debate, mostly. One camp were leaving entirely. Another wanted to turn to Jor for guidance. I ended up wanting to leave with my wonderful Toot. Toot? He shakes his head. Sorry, no, the voice who won in the end, they sought a more permanent solution to the dragonfire through primal pagan magic. I did not believe in that for a second. They imprisoned you for inviting the dragon? That, among other things. I was never the most liked snail on the coast, but they wanted an offering, someone to pin the blame. He grows silent. His eyes shiver. The snail begins to think about things he does not want to think about. This poor snail. He knows what he must face now. Failure. I believe you've been imprisoned here for a very long time. How long? His eyes retract as if he does not want an answer to his question. When were you imprisoned? I'm assuming an era of dragons occurred after our reign. However, we ruled in the aftermath of the shutting of the gates. It had been 211 years since then, the year when our city burned. During the Fade era then, not very long after the gates had shut. That is exactly 1,016 years ago. He grips his staff. You can hear it creak. Millennia? I was in stasis for millennia? I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Good gods. His eyes shoot out, aiming around the room. He is alone. His entire folk type has been wiped from the map before humans even held their own kingdoms. I am alone. There is no one, is there? He shakes his staff, and his stalk eyes wiggle around the air. A faint glow appears as he mutters a few words to himself. I see. Snails? Yes, but... Scrying. He is seeing hail snails currently. Are the hail snails descendants of your people?
No. No. Is this what you made of yourselves?
He stops casting the spell, his head falling towards the ground.
Gurema, you fool. You led them into this primal state. Degenerative, frozen, monstrous beasts. Hail snails.
Realize his terrible fate. He lets out a mad laugh.
They wanted to use the primal cold to break the dragon's fire. That bastard. He led them into pure de-evolution. It is a nightmare. Oh, by Jor's grace. Tell me, how did you break the stasis I was in?
Your angel companion steps in. Her last thought was of you, Iskurum.
I think it. You, cleric. Imagine it in your head. Now, please.
Think about your talk at the iron door.
Tut Erma. She was in an iron door? They threw her in an iron door for millennia?
His eyes droop down towards the ground.
I cannot believe it. My actions caused... I ruined my people. I brought flames. I divided them. Yet, in the end, I did not even pay for my crimes with my life. Instead, I pay by standing here, alone among the ashes. Easkani. And Tut. She endured the most treacherous existence known to sentience. Her soul slowly withered inside of that hellish prison. Yet after all that, in the end she...
Like Atir said, her last thoughts were only of you. He lets out a grunt, then a painful howl. Then he roars, a deep, bubbling scream, causing his glistening flesh to vibrate. Stare at the snail. When he stops, he takes his staff and slams it into the ground.
I reject this. This string. Jor's words do not speak of a humble nature. He broke off this world to make his own path. I will do exactly the same.
What are you talking about? He lets out a gust of wind.
I can fix this.
What? Yeah, what? Fix what?
My dear Tut was destroyed by an iron prison. That leaves her soul in pieces. Not quite dead. Not quite in existence. But I am cord puller Iskurum. I wield strings like Jor himself. From this day on, I no longer seek power, nor achieve greatness, nor will I build empires. I will only perform one miracle. I will resurrect her. Then I will pay her back 1,000-fold for her unyielding love and devotion. Yes,
the Celestial clenches her fists.
Pay your debt, Tolin. To her, with everything I have.
What kind of resurrection?
True resurrection. Not easy, especially when the strings are this weak. True resurrection, a 9th-level legendary spell capable of bringing anyone dead back to life. If you believe the legends, there are many different tales with different takes on the resurrections, but generally you cannot use it on a creature that has been dead for over 200 years. An ebb, surely?
What? Can you tell me more about?
Yes, anything you need, I am in your debt as well, of course.
He mutters to himself and leans on his staff.
I now have time, cleric. I now have a time limit, cleric. In 200 years, the fragments of my wife's soul will leave this plane forever. Thus, I can no longer resurrect her. And it will take time, but it can be done. Anything can be done.
He is coping, but not in a terribly destructive way.
It is possible. Improbable, but possible. Even for a snail.
Fuck yes! If you need anything, just let me know.
Thank you, my green friend. That is very romantic, Iskurum. I wish you luck on your venture. Thank you, Celestial. It's funny. Last time I saw one of your kind, it was on a battlefield. I prefer this. As do I.
Do you know how to enter the pillar?
Oh, you wish to enter a closed gate. That is bold.
I need to follow a rogue spellcaster. A suspected rogue spellcaster. The snail stares at you.
I heard nothing. But if you need to enter a closed gate, that is no small feat, of course.
But it's possible.
Very much so. What lies beyond is not so much a mystery as it is a question of shape. Tunnels, paths, cracks in the veil around your realm. To enter is as simple as either having a key, a blessed passing, or forcing your way with a very powerful spell. Gate, astral projection, wish. They can all break through. Of course, with the current state of things here in your time, it is clear all such methods would be difficult. Very difficult. You require assistance from creatures who have studied or understand its current shape.
Have any in mind?
He lowers his head. Toot was a genius on planar travel. She could have helped you. You made him sad again. That's sad.
Sorry. He glares at you with one eye as the other falls upon his staff.
You have made a great friend in me, cleric. That will be rewarded. A staff of strings.
The staff?
You hold it out, feeling the power surge through the rough wood. I call it Merevesh, Staff of Strings. You may call it Staff of Tulinkatl, as remembrance of my fallen people. It will be returned to me once you are finished with all of this. The crystal at the top lights up as he speaks. It is now attuned to you. If you wield it while dealing with this gate, it will grant you assistance, information, attunement, so on. My dear wife's research can be found within its core. It will help you, I'm sure.
Thank you, and Tut.
As for who you should speak with, I have no idea. But unless you want to write a contract with some powerful devil or serve a far realm monster, you might not have too many good options. The only creature I knew beyond my people who understood the mechanics of the gate was the Gate Guardian herself, but she was ancient by the time I reached adulthood, so I would not count on her being still around.
Gate Guardian? Are you talking about the Sphinx?
Excuse me?
Ulzis, the Sphinx.
She's still around.
Yeah, you know her? The snail leans back, still reeling over this information.
You keep shocking the poor man. I'll have to visit. So she is still in the lair?
It's a tavern now, called the Drunk Sphinx.
This is a strange era you've built for yourselves. I can't say I dislike it. In that case, I highly recommend you go speak with Ulzis. Unless you've made a fool of yourself before her, she might be inclined to help getting you into the gate crack.
Flashback to when you spoke with Ulzis.
Oh, sure. I'm sure with Merevesh it will be fine. Yeah, and if not, then maybe there is some other dark and oppressive magical creature you can persuade.
Like that aberration called Everglad that lives in these tunnels, I assume.
Huh.
He looks around.
I should probably leave here soon if things like that have taken hold.
Do you have any questions? About all the stuff you've missed?
A couple of thousand of them, yes. I will also, of course, dive into whatever libraries you have available for information soon enough. You still have libraries, I hope.
We have a Daroian library. Daroian library south of here. I can get you access if I put in an application.
Oh, grand! Please do. Is that your local government, Darrow?
No.
I see. Also, I need to ask, what is south?
South?
Yes. South is south. Ah, this must be some common knowledge. Please elaborate.
It's a direction, downwards on the map.
Interesting. Do you not use inwards and outwards? With and against?
The scholarly version is seaward and inland. Which one's forward in your case?
With is when you move along the coast, with the movement of the sun. Against is against the sun's movement.
Ah, we use west for with, then, and east for against.
I see. Do you know the etymological origin of those words? I find your use of them quite fascinating, especially the fact my tongue spell does not localize them. Of course you do. Cardinal directions are based on some early human tongue, way before we arrived in this world. We simply applied our old world's term on Jor's realm. Realistically, they all have something to do with the sun, just like yours do. I love these diatribes. As I said, this game is fucking fascinating. Interesting. That you base your directions on a map is very different from our way of navigation. Later, I will very much love to pore over your findings and documents, especially those maps. I've seen books all over the place. You always just go around and ask to check them out. Interesting. So your people are very open-minded then? Sometimes. That pale man looks like an interesting spellcaster. We'll see how they react. Is your people anti-snail? I suppose they haven't been given the chance to be anti-snail. I don't think anyone will actively hate the idea of a snail folk. He nods and his eyes jut out. Interesting. I'm looking forward to navigating your society. So what do you want to ask? He lets out a bubbling noise. Timeline. I can see images of your current world in your mind, your city called Norvik. You live upon the ruins of my people's creations. Very interesting. But I am interested in how you got there. You appear to be human, yes? I remember the dragons of the East bringing your people to the coast as servants. Slaves, rather. When did you break your chains? It was during the Fade era. Humans broke free alongside many others as the big ones fell. Dog Dulin Dim led the charge against the dragons. It was... I see. I am both relieved and extremely happy to hear of their demise. You're welcome. But I must ask, whatever happened to Isuth? His downfall must have been at the hands of some great warrior. Oh, I know that one. It's a children's story. Oh? The Little and the Large. Think about the tale. A gnome befriended the Mist Titan of Ascani, and together they defeated the great red dragon. Abacus, the half-wit, and Ka Ymor, the greatest of friends. You're kidding. By Jor. That is very good. Very, very good. An ironic end for such a horrid beast. Defeated by friendship, he lets out a bubbling laugh. May his bones be cursed forever. We stole magic from the dragons, taught ourselves. Hold on, let's see. The snail retracts his eyes and goes quiet for a while as he listens to your thoughts. Do go on. The Fade era, after the Gate era, lasted about 1,000 years. Ah, you were at the start of a new era then. What do you call it? The post-war era. Oh, the Arcane era brought with it a most foul war then. I could only imagine. Myself, I too was born in a time after war, the Gate War, but my father saw the end of it in his youth. I will make sure to read about it more. But what caused this great war? Humans. We became great wizards, arcanists, and destroyed each other, as well as most of the entire coast. Numinist, a cabal of hedonistic far realm worshippers pitted on the great arcanists against each other. An imp, he assisted an elvish priestess and set the whole thing in motion. It's complicated. Yeah, like, Arcane era Gate War stuff was like, a bunch of arcanists were making shit hard for everybody, and essentially focusing on the increasement of their power to the exploitation of everybody. Like, essentially becoming powerful to the detriment of the world. Yes, I can see that. I can similarly not in any way tell you the real reason behind the Gate War. But since it's closer to in the timeline, if I may ask, how did your Coast War end? Freestriders, an ideology of meritocratic and democratic heroes, eventually felled the Arcanists. Today they're the most powerful force on the coast. Arcanists destroyed each other and ruined large portions of the band in the process. Arcanists were simply too powerful. I mean, this is just the
yeah, I mean, the Free Striders did rise and eventually take hold.
Fascinating. It's understandable that there is no clear answer to such a complex conflict. As per usual, the victor will always write the notes on the history, however.
Wait, now let me reread that.
As per usual, the victor will write the notes on history, however, so I will be sure to read with critical stock.
Stalk? Ah, I stalk.
And your people, then, they fled the Arcanists during the war. I seem to get that impression from the images I keep seeing.
What exactly can you see out of my thoughts?
Voices, images. Nothing too personal so far, thank Jor. Some esoterically attuned people cannot help themselves. It's honestly quite dangerous at times. My old rival used to run into my laboratory and think very loud and grimy things, the most heinous scenarios you could imagine.
What an asshole.
You're quite the frayed fellow, aren't you?
What would be too personal, like being naked, or? His eye stalks glare at you in silence.
Case in point.
So you're a wizard?
Yes, I am a learned Tulin of the Path of Jor. String master, string player, chord puller extraordinaire. I might have missed a few eras, but I assure you, we had reality warping powers in our times. By Jor, I sure sound like an old-timer. I heard that.
Sorry.
No worries, it's true.
Are all snail folk wizards? What level spells can you cast?
9th, by regular limits. I had the ability to wield a 10th level spell at one point, although it was, of course, a weak 10th level spell. I called it Isk Urum's Epic Traversal. It basically targeted a road up to 100 miles of it, repairing any cracks, making the journey smooth and wonderful, and generally increasing your movement speed by up to double.
What the fuck? That's not a weak spell. That's fucking cool.
Useful, not more than that. Not exactly epic. Useful, yes. As you could imagine, we kept to more grounded magics for anything above 9th. The actual world-changing spells would simply get you popped out of existence.
Popped out of existence.
Yes, I named it Esoteric Events. They apparently began during the Gate War, but grew worse during my lifetime. Irresponsible usage of magic could easily cause them to appear. Some called it wild magic. Some call it Jor's curse.
Oh yeah, we have those all the time.
Oh, do you now? I suppose the tongue spell translated it properly then.
What 9-level spells can you cast?
Nothing currently. When I was cast into stasis, Gurema made sure to place an ebbing seal on me. That is a curse, essentially. Makes me unable to cast anything above, in this case, 3rd level spells. So currently, I'm not so powerful at all. But do not fret, it will fade in time. Hopefully, as the ley lines grow stronger all around. This ebb.
Are all snailfolk wizards?
Oh no, but many, yes. The Tulin are naturally acclimated to string manipulation. It forms a gift we were granted by Jor, as we arrived on the Gate Whale's back. Gate Whale, the mythical first creature Jor invented to join them on his newly created realm.
That's all I've got for wizards.
I can see that. How wonderful to share.
Can you teach me magic?
Oh, teaching. That is not my specialty. If you have any questions, I can always share my knowledge, but beyond that, I'm afraid I can only offer some spell scrolls.
What does ebb mean?
His eyes dart around. You want a definition?
It's just, I've heard the word a lot, but I don't think I've completely understand it.
His eyes jitter a bit. Ebb is defined as an event of anti-magic.
Oh, so magic and not magic, esoteric ebb. So esoteric being the magic and ebb is the lack of magic, beginning and end.
Oh. It is when the flow of magic is ebbed, lowered, ceased. It is a word I do not like for many reasons. For one, it was a tool used by our enemies in the Gate War. To sink Jor's realm, they wished to quell his strings. Then, of course, it was the dragon Isuth. His betrayal began by the casting of a horrid and terribly effective spell. Power word Ebb.
What does it do?
Power word Ebb puts a clamp on Jor's strings. A large area, I believe up to 1,000 feet, becomes void of high-tier magics and low-tier magic becomes unstable. Yet it is no simple anti-magic field. It is not an area of suppression of magic. It is the literal editing of the strings themselves. It cuts off flow to the strings, flow from the past and future, a ripple of non-magic through time. I will be honest, I have no clue what the exact parameters of casting such a spell would be, nor what the long-term effects are. But it does sound to me like your era has been affected by some terrible ebbings, for your strings seem to me as if they are indeed clamped and clutched, as if struggling to breathe.
So you're saying someone has cast a bunch of ebb spells? You think an ebb caused the weakening of the Arcanists at the end of the Coast War? Do you know anything else about these ebbs? What do you mean by past and future? So you're saying someone has cast a bunch of ebb spells?
That is a lot of questions. I'll say possibly, probably, not really, and strings are drawn from one point to another in time, cleric. They go through time.
Okay, so he's actually answering every question that I end up having in this. Oh, that's so cool.
This is, of course, only a theory of mine. When it comes to esoteric events, esoteric effects, pockets, events, and so on, but what makes an esoteric ebb so powerful is the sheer time frame of it. The consequences that can be unfelt for centuries. That's what makes Jor's esoteric magic so powerful and so dangerous. No sane being can calculate beyond the third dimension. Not at least beyond some abstract, impractical sense. We are not made for it. But that doesn't stop me from researching it. Or at least until Isuth did. Now he's getting sad again.
What do you know about Jor's strings? He holds out a hand and casts prestidigitation.
When Jor crafted the coast, he did not make it from scratch.
Dazzling lights sprawl out from his palm, forming a collection of gleaming lights.
He based his designs on others. The landscape, the water, the wind, the biome, as well as the magic. In most other realms, from what our history teaches us, ley lines, as in the thing we channel magic from, is usually formed as a web, a network, a weaving, a series of nodes connected. This design was fundamental and solid. It connected so many material realms to outer ones, or to the outer ones. As in, they were not just one. The solid world of mortals on one side, the worlds with all the angels and demons and non-mortals on the other, a magic web interconnecting them. Most Anticipalians will tell you the same thing. The world of mortals and non-mortals were separated beyond Jor's realm.
Right, before the gates closed, we were separated.
He nods. Jor did something different. He created the strings. Instead of having a series of nodes with connections between them, his ley lines were simply just nodes. They contained a sort of esoteric vector. Intensity, delta, rush, tone, some call it colors. Various difficult to phrase parameters. Instead of being interconnected, they simply bumped into one another, physically. That is how they interact, to put it in a simple metaphor. However, Jor did something ingenious here. He took the designs of those interconnected webs and repurposed them, not to connect to one another, but to connect with themselves, over time itself. Connected from the past, through the present, to the future. A straight line, a chord, a string. Remember, he is reading your mind. Every option you think of will be presented to him all at once.
What difference does it make in comparison to that web design?
Okay, that's a lot to take in all at once.
This mind reading makes conversation highly efficient. I'll take your questions one by one if that's okay. Starting off, compared to the original web design, which I sadly have not been able to investigate myself, I am basing all of my findings off data retrieved from my forebears. There seems to be almost no real difference. Also, ad break starting in 4 minutes, heads up. On the surface level, channeling magic from a practical art works fundamentally the same, drawing powers from the network, using verbal, somatic, and components to steer this power in a certain direction. However, this change, making the network into strings, changes how that magic flows. Instead of being focused on that one point in time, it is constantly connected to the past and present. Part of that power is leaked in each direction. Now, this does happen in some degree in a normal web-based node system as well. That's how divination magic works. But instead of it happening in a natural way, just like we remember where we were a second ago, so does magic. Just like we can extrapolate on current information in order to reach conclusions about the future, so does magic. The strings, instead, are directly connected. It would be as if we constantly saw ourselves in the past alongside our present, with glimpses of the future. Like a constant, permanent form of divination magic. It's quite difficult to imagine. To answer your second question, I do not know why Jor made the strings this way. There are theories. He could have done it to perform some type of chronomancy. Perhaps it was simply an experiment. My personal belief is simply that Jor found it efficient. By leaking esoteric energies to the past and future, it would make sense that we are able to build a much more potent acceleration in our spells. How this works in practice, none can tell, not since the gates closed. As to your third question, yes. It sounds as if your Arcanists did uncover many of the same mysteries we worked on. However, it does sound as if Jor abandoned them in a way not too dissimilar to our own. Finally, your fourth question. Chronomancy is a topic many wizards dream of as they study. I must disappoint you. There are no ways, beyond divination, those little peeks behind the curtain, to tamper with time. As the strings move forward, Jor watches us go along them. That is one of the messages we received from him all those years ago. He is watching. This is our one chance to make our choices, so make them well. How do I learn high-tier magic? Time and effort, cleric. I remember when we caught a batch of students about to rush into the wild to burn some fey creatures with fireballs. They said they needed the experience. The wisdom of Jor teaches us otherwise. Repeated exercise does build muscle memory, yes. However, true experience is bought from novelty. Be interesting. Your future and high-tier magic will be born from that. Thank you, that was very informative. No problem. I am no lecturer, so apologies if I'm ranting too much. So, you mentioned Jor. What do you know about the guy? About Jor? Oh, just about everything. And nothing. An enigma of a wizard, Jor is. First, I'd like to ask you, what do you know about Jor? One who created this place and invited people. The snail man listens to your thoughts intensely. Then he asks, Beasts of Jor? Is that what you call us? The only followers of Jor who survived to this day are usually quite feared, as you can imagine. I see. The recent Arcanist trouble humans caused... Wait. Alright, let me get some hydration in my system, because the ad break's actually about to happen now, so... 3 minutes, hour of no pre-roll, so hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. Alright. I really do like the character portraits in this game. It's really nice. Alright. The recent Arcanist trouble humans caused must have not helped the issue of Jor. That is true. The term Anticipalian appears good. It is draconic, yes? Before the closing? Very good. His eyes close up slightly. In the old world, Temin-Catl was worshipped oppressive god. In the old world, Temin-Catl, we worshipped oppressive gods. Oppressive in the sense of absolute power. My forebears left willingly at the invitation of Jor, to never again serve. So it's important to remember our love for Jor was not subjugation. It was a partnership, in the purest sense of the word. So to be clear, I am not numinist. I have no religion. I do not worship Jor. My people were raised into self-idolization by Jor, or idealization, not idolization, idealization by Jor, given power, esoterical forces. When he fell after the Gate War and no longer was as directly involved, well, we had held some hope he was alive, just hiding, or having gone to some other state of being to shut out the gods. Logically speaking, he has to be alive. That is my input on the discussion. Why? Because his realm still stands. I do not believe in a natural existence for his coast. I believe, although my evidence for this is faltering, the realm would collapse if Jor truly died. This place is held up by him, thus its existence is proof of his well-being. Not to mention the handful of messages we received, at least hint at something still existing out there. Unless you believe those messages were false, which they could be. I do not believe so. What do you know about Eomestra? Eomestra. Where did you hear that name? His eyes stretch out towards you. You startled him by mentioning that name. From a talking wall, thinking about your amazing wall speechcraft. Chansey. That was the name of it, yes. Recall your conversation with the literal wall. That is the name of a founding shell, one of the first snails to be invited. By Jor. One who created the foundations of Tulinkatl, Chansey the Seer. Huh. But it was in the wall. Yes. It could be an apparition, an animating spirit in the shape of Chansey's mind, or the very structure of the city you have built your home on is filled with the spirits of my ancestors. How peculiar. His eyes slowly retract. I suppose I should tell you a story about Jor then. Please do. He slides around the floor as he speaks. What we know of Jor, some is derived from early witnesses. Most, however, is recalled directly from his secret, original apprentices. Jor's apprentices hid in the shadows as to not become targets during the invasions. So I imagine it comes as quite a shock to you that... Oh no, we knew about those. What? They're not secret, not anymore. Huh? Huh. But there are 8 of them, did you know that? Think about what you know about the apprentices. Right. Why did you ask then? Eomestra, she is one of the apprentices. Interesting. No, we don't know their names, or at least I don't, just that there were 8 of them. Oh! In that case, let me tell you. Eomestra was the apprentice of Goodland. She was the first cord puller of Tulinkatl, speaker of Jor. Goodland? Goodland. Oh, right, the translation must be confusing. That is the native term we use for this here slice, or band. That is what you call it. You call it a scani. You knew this apprentice? She was my friend. Eom would travel from tower to tower whenever she visited the city. She was old, frail by the time I was born, yet she traveled like no other. I was taught prestidigitation by her, her own personalized version. No doubt you would ask me how to teach you, but that would be impossible. Only she could be a good enough teacher to spread such a complicated cantrip. Fascinating. Prestidigitation, taught directly from Jor himself. One day you will master it, surely. You must. He lets out a pained groan. Her disappearance was the first great omen of our people. My wife, Tut, was even closer to her. We missed her dearly. You spoke with someone who spoke directly to Jor? Yes, many times. She could never tell us much about her master, of course. However, it was clear he too was an interesting figure. A personality, if you will, just like all the tales painted. What was she like? Kind. He nods. They used to call her the neutral good apprentice. I tended to agree. Did you speak with any other apprentices? I'm afraid not. Or perhaps luckily, not all of them were so friendly to the local populace, though most of them were simply destroyed during the Gate War. Why would he send an apprentice? Why not talk to you himself? That is a good question. We never had an answer. Why did she disappear? That is a very good question. One day she was there, the next she was not. I was the last of our kind to meet with her. I found her acting peculiar, stressed. She asked me, Isk, how much would you wager on a shell flip? And waited for my answer. I told her I'd wager nothing important on such bad odds. A shell flip? It's when you toss a flat shell into the air to see which side lands on a 50-50. Which side it lands on, a 50-50 fair game. He shakes his head. Io Mestra. She accepted my answer and then left. I'm still not sure how to interpret such a strange question. But that was it. She was gone. The Gator of Ascan, our connection to Jor, gone. Soon after, just a few years later, Esuth burned it all down. Jeez. The snailman lets out a blubbering sigh. Since I've been given a second chance, perhaps we will find out. One day. What will you do now? I will build a base, a laboratory, somewhere in this city of yours, built upon our ruins. Any tips on who I should talk to? Honestly, I would say Sageleaf. Lady Sageleaf is the local goblin chieftain. She could hook you up if you do something in exchange, I'm sure. Damn right. Oh yes, I see. Yes, this will help a lot. Thank you, cleric. Once I've established a foothold in this new era, I will return to my research, figure out how strings have changed over the millennia, relearn my mastery of chords, collect the resources needed. And of course, he looks upward. I will bind her fragments to this material world. I will return her to flesh, bring life into her once again. My dear sweet Tut Erma will be given her life once more. Then, if she will have me, I will build a life for us here. A life of peace. True, fair peace. Wish me luck. Good luck. He nods. What are you voting in the election? The what? We have our first ever election soon. You should vote. Voting? Hold on, do you select your leaders through election? We're starting to do it now, yeah. Fascinating! This is an elective system for Is this an elective system from landowners, mages, or... Everyone gets to vote, pretty much at least. You just need to live here. Huh! You've shocked him. I did not expect something like that. Such a liberal paradise. Well, I am not one to judge these futuristic ideas. I must investigate. Tell me more. What do you vote for? Kings? Governments? Parties, with different ideologies on how to run the city of Norvik. Parties? How glib. Very glib indeed. What does that mean? Sorry, it was a bit of an insult. Do go on. The Asgals are the future of the city. They are the party of egalitarianism, workers' rights, and unity. That is amazing. He lets out a blubbering noise. Laughter. Listening to all that, I would say I would actually vote for the Arcanists. Seems like they would be the most esoterically attuned party, which fits my ideals. However, in my experience, a group of wizards working together tends to end up being quite the mess, but my heart still leans in that direction. I'll have to go see for myself once it is time for that election. He lets out more blubbering noises. The snail's laughing at democracy. Rude. He has a fair reason to laugh at it. It will most likely be a messy process. At the very least, the snail has good taste. His eyes behold you knowingly. Do you have any spell scrolls I can have?
Oh, only a dozen or so. They're deep in my shell. Are you interested? Any you're interested in? I can dig in and get one for you.
He retracts one of his arms into his shell. Ew. What about a scroll of astral projection?
You have particular tastes. That is not a spell you are even able to cast. Not without great unreliability.
Is that a no?
Of course not. Enjoy.
He hands you the tingling paper with a casual nod and the intense power rushing through your arm as you grab it.
It will tear a hole in you. Grasp it with your life. Considering the state of the world, it would not have the intended effect even if you did know how to cast it, so it's useless to me anyhow. But I suggest studying it.
Detect secrets?
Of course. That one is very useful.
What about protection from evil and good? That's a classic.
It is indeed. Sadly, I do not have many divine spell scrolls, so that is a no, I'm afraid.
How about Aura Vitality? I used to have that one written down.
That's an oldie. I never was too good at it myself, but it saved my life a number of times.
Anything else? The snail man stares at you for a few seconds.
No, you seem to have thought of all I am able to hand you. Except...
Do go on here. Don't leave me hanging. I'm acting really greedy, aren't I? Maybe I shouldn't. Isk shrugs while slowly retracting his entire head. Slowly. Just watch. Soon the snail is no more, and you are standing in front of a shell. That's convenient. Then, as slowly as he retracted, he begins to leave the shell.
I went over the esoteric attunements from your mind, cleric.
It appears the only scroll you do not actively think about here, that you also do not already have memorized, would be this. Scroll of Wish. He hands you a spell scroll.
By Jor and his disciples, what are you holding in your hands?
Wish? I'm sorry, what?
Isk Urum. That is a very dangerous item.
That's not, like, the wish, is it?
That is Wish. However, you cannot memorize it at your current level of attunement. Attempting to cast it directly would also take, even at your level of talent, weeks, maybe months.
And even if I did cast it,
Wish is one of the few non-epic tier spells that can wildly shape reality. It is arguably the most powerful and versatile of all 9th level spells. It is so powerful, in fact, that it can easily cripple anyone who does not manage to cast it. The only truly safe usage of Wish is to use its power to ask for the casting of another spell, 8th level or lower. You could also ask for a weaker effect, which has been proven to be safe at times. But if you word your wish poorly and the effect is broader than you intended, then you are, as they say, screwed.
That is horrifying. The snail man lets out a blubbering sigh.
I received that spell scroll from a djinn I fought alongside during the war. It was a reminder to stay humble. For those who use it for personal gain, use it as a shortcut to greatness. Always end up in ashes.
Actually, wait, let me reread that.
It was a reminder to stay humble. For those who use it for personal gain, use it as a shortcut to greatness, always end up in ashes. I did not always listen to such ideals, but when it comes to that spell, I have respect for it. One of my teachers, the great Rit Eos, used its power to shatter the hearts and souls of 100 ice devils. In the process, her entire being turned into a permanent esoteric pocket. I am giving this spell scroll not to use, cleric, but as a reminder of your mortality.
Thank you for this, Isk. He makes a peculiar mouth movement.
A grin. I like your fire. It burns bright.
Anything else? I'm good. The snail man nods. That's all I have to ask about wizards for now. I'll see you around, Isk. Well, we got the scroll we needed. Because I have no goddamn idea where we're supposed to find an emerald. Wow! We got to meet one of the snail people! I fucking love this game. This game's really cool. Like, is it perfect? No, but goddamn, what it gets right, it gets really right. Just a lot of cool moments in this game. All right.
And all these were the prisons.
What's this? You step onto the little lines. It's faintly lit. The chamber collapsed, rubble strewn across its surface. What you see is a slice, 1/8 of a greater whole. It's a map.
Of Ascani, yes.
Damn.
However, it is old. Mountains and rivers alone do not align with any modern-day interpretations. Despite that, the shape of the coastline and of course the ever-standing fortress of Verdun show it clearly. This is Ascani, during the era of the snail folk.
You see this shit? I sure am. It's a map, right? I think so. Must be thousands of years old. Look at the little snail people on it. Atir's many eyes glance over it, lighting it with a slight sacred flame.
Early Fade era.
Right, you were alive back then.
This realm is young, cleric. The 5 dragons each were older than anything born on Jor. Remember that.
What do you know about this time period?
I recall our clashes with the Tulinkatl. They were formidable war mages. Though we never made landfall in Ascani during the time this map was created, it was considered Dominium Draconis. What you today call Ascani, Diminor, and Vorgeni were all within their territory.
Sad that rubble is covering Divinitorum.
Yes, it would have been interesting to see their view on my homeland. I believe our domain would be considered approximately 3/4 of the Divinitorum landscape at this point in history. The choir did not centralize into a functional state until the Divine Era. There were many centuries of infighting and disorder.
You, participated in any of that?
Yes, Snell. Most of my lifetime has been spent in combat with other Celestials.
Huh.
Indeed.
Very interesting. I'm sure there's scholars that would kill for an LR of this thing. Me thinks it's very interesting too. Old Master had many map, though me never learn what they mean. Anyway,
look at the dot on the coast. Your home, thousands of years in the past.
Oh, big yawn.
This was the first founding, by these snails. The little images of these beasts of Jor showed them stretched far inland, having colonies along the river. Not too unlike your own people's efforts. The River Torna. They appear to have had colonies even as far as Toll's Pass, even further up than Earthport. Earthport, the northernmost town, or Jarldom under Norvikian influence, and the last civilized stop along the river, famous for its furs, expeditions, and of course, the Muletown incident.
The Muletown incident. In 25 PE, 2 years ago, a reported fight with a local arcanist occurred in the northernmost Norvikian settlement of Earthpost. Ever since the city has been overrun with mules, which the locals are unable to get rid of. Thus, the settlement is commonly known as Muletown.
Though, curiously, this map does not align with your common knowledge. No, it does not. The endless waste should not allow anything to be built this far inland.
Oh, another big yawn. Yeah.
If this map depicts everything until the wastes begins, then there was less wastes during the Fade era. It is commonly assumed when looking at other early mapping attempts. Good to see it confirmed.
Okay, so the endless wastes are expanding.
Look at Reed's Old Deminor. Across the border, on the mostly covered in rubble band to your left.
you see a very different visual than is commonly depicted today. For today, most of Western Reeds is ruined, cursed. Reeds, the leftovers, the centers of the Coast War, which ripped the entire band apart. Today, it's a shining beacon of everything modern and pretty and new and so on. Where the cursed lands lay today, here you see a fertile crescent. Is that a frog? Yes, you have heard that Anurans once occupied large swaths of Old Dominor before the strife of the Divine Era. While on the coast you see several locations that do not align with any modern locations. The Draconic Civil War surely reshaped most of this as your former overlords fell. One dot that does align is a tiny one placed in the center of the bay, the Reedsian location for the Pillar of Jor. It has stood there since the Gate War, so it makes sense the snails would want to point it out clearly. They did worship Jor in the end. It also appears the rest of the geography in this depiction of Old Dominor does not align with any modern visuals either. Yes, the Arcanists geoshaped most of it to create more fertile farmland and defensive positions. Divinitorum. Most of it is covered in fallen rocks. One thing you see is like some feathers. Like Drummer? Not really. Drummer's more of a Imian bird, from what you remember. Divinitorum was filled with birds all throughout the Fade era, from what you remember. It's like their thing, Luxorian birds. Then the Celestials settled more seriously over the course of the next couple hundred years. And with settled, well, that's the colonial imperialism version of it. They're still there today, so they surely did something right. Ugh, God, the Celestials coming in and just doing horrible colonization. So they did to bird people what they're doing now to the halflings. Look at the lion in modern-day Vizcan. You see a lot of smaller symbols representing the lion folk of Ascani across the inner parts of the map. There is some evidence pointing towards Ascani being a temperate band during the early Fade era. The visuals here, along with the inland lions, would suggest something similar. Tribal catfolk ruled large parts of Ascani until the early Divine era. Their claw marks are evident, all over your precious city. Look at the dragons. 3 of them can be seen, a red, a green, and a black dragon. Look at the red one. Isuth, the red dragon of Ascan, the scourge of the coast, the largest of all known dragons throughout Jor's history. Luckily, he was slain long ago. Yeah, strength doesn't go like, it would have been glorious to fight that thing. Look at the green dragon. Tissereldenor, yeah. Tissereldenor, the green dragon. She was the mother of most, as they say, who birthed the water. God damn it. It should be hard to say birthed. She was the mother of most, as they say, she who birthed the coastal broods. While a tyrant like all her kin, she is known for her lighter touch and bond with man. When Dug Dulin Dim slayed her, it ushered in freedom for all of mankind. Her visage upon the map indicates her domain, was today the Ilim Forest. Look at the black dragon. Umbramixus, I think. Umbramixus, the all-wise black dragon, guardian of the bay. He was known as the most magically adept dragon on the coast. His esoteric cache in Silver's Love has still not been found, and is to this day a popular target for adventurers in Reeds. Which dragons are missing? Felgentior, the Blue Thunder, and Mad Drake Alganoth, of course. Those are the big 5 who fought during the Draconic Civil War, the ones all humans are taught to despise. They enslaved my people. Once man grew strong, he broke free. Enslavement is simply a result of weakness.
That is the view of a person without a heart. The heart does not think. At least anything useful. I'm done looking at dragons. You avert your gaze. Jor's Ocean. A cool depiction of a perch and a nice whirlwind pool at the top. Just the same as they do today. Good thing the snails were as confounded by the whole mystery as we are today. You know, you could get yourself real rich by figuring out that whole thing one day. The mystery? Yeah, the mystery behind Jor's Point. It was like the place where that big whale first entered, through the first of Jor's gates or whatever. But no one who ever tries to sail directly seawards ever returns. Real spooky. But there have been reports on massive treasures being found on the islands located deep inside that stormy part of the ocean. So, if you ever want to become an explorer, pirate, sailor, that's where to aim for the biggest payout. I could become a pirate? Just think about it, okay? The world is your oyster. Crack it open at your leisure. I just cannot get enough of this world. Like, genuinely, it's a really cool setting. All right. Well, we're not going to get that emerald, I think, because I have no idea where I'm supposed to find it. So we have a scroll of wish, an ancient spell scroll from a different time. You cannot read the contents, like, at all. The snail glyphs running along the edges causes your entire body to tingle as you touch them, however. This is the power of a wish spell. A power so strong even the paper itself becomes esoteric. Just keeping it near causes your nerves to tingle. And this staff. A piece of Brachin born through centuries of gate war fighting. This indestructible item has seen the early days of this world, and has now been brought to this modern alien era. Grasping it gives you chills. Firmly grasp it in your hand. Let's see. Scroll of Astral Projection. An ancient spell scroll of astral projection. Just holding it makes you feel like you have the power to rip a hole in reality. You obviously can't use it, though. Not without ripping another hole in yourself in the process. Alright, well, I actually want to go talk to the Sphinx, since now that we've talked with Isk, maybe we could get some input from her. Because, like, the problem is that I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to find an emerald down here. Maybe I could buy... Wait, does she have an emerald? Hold on. I've got 40,000 crowns. Elven ointment. Empty Ephreti bottle, please. Smart choice. It might not have a spirit in it, but if you run into an elemental Oh, I could have trapped the elemental I found in the... Fuck. I didn't have the money for it anyway. What's this ointment? Come and help you greatly, warrior. What is this? The glass jar. Oh, it's big HP. Ooh. This glass jar, 3 inches in diameter, contains a handful of doses of a thick mixture that smells faintly of aioli. The jar, aloe. The aloe, that's the word, aloe. The jar and its contents weigh half a pound. As an action, 1 dose of the ointment can be swallowed or applied to the skin. No, don't want to, no, don't pilfer. I want to behold. God damn it. Can I behold her? I already did that. Nope. Engage. Alright, fuck it. We're just gonna walk the normal way.
You hear the tune dance on the cold Ascani winds. Melancholy. You see on the edge a goblin. She has a flower crown on the top of her ruffled dark hair and is playing an exotic instrument. For a goblin to produce such a melody. Listen for a bit. We've already gone through all this. She stops playing and gives you an irked look. You again. You know her? Of course he knows me. We used to live together. Oh. Not like that. Same cluster. You know, like daycare. Goblins have very different family structures than humans. Even after the genocide, they still cannot adapt to life in Norvik properly. So you're like brother and sister? She laughs. Not that close. It's more like distant cousins. Sure, something like that. Either way, we've got work to do. Same. Anything else? You're really a goblin? What gave it away? Tell her she's good at playing. It was a nice tune. You're playing quite well. And a goblin wouldn't, or what? No, She scoffs. Dick. Insulting you to your face? Take back the compliment. I deserved that. Yeah, you did. Yep. Okay, so that was like... I should not have taken strength suggestion. Can I take that back, actually? Can I just load that back in? Yeah, I'm just going to load that file. Never listen to strength. Never, ever, ever listen to strength for dialogue prompts. Never, ever, ever listen to strength. That is the lesson to take in. But it does seem like you can't really, it does really seem like you can't talk to her about, the rent. Because I remember the quest that we got from her was to be like, oh, talk to Lady Sageleaf about helping her with her rent. And apparently that just isn't showing up. I don't know what I'm doing wrong on that one. Alright, well first I'm going to equip that staff. Can I equip... Is this like a... Can't equip texts. Ah, so I do it this way. Well, we have the scroll. So whenever we want, we can just go ahead and get on it. But I want to see what Ulzis's reaction is to us having this staff and meeting Isk. Should I reroll? Nope. Closer, but no. About your flower crown. Yeah? I spoke with Lady Sageleaf. Wait, actually? Oh, gods, I wasn't really serious. What did she say? She has extended your rent payment. She gives you a suspicious glance. Did she? Yes. But wait, she just did it for what? Just out of the kindness of her cold heart? Just like that? She made me dance. She what? She told me to dance for it. And you did? Nod. Her expression gets stuck somewhere between shock and laughter, unable to get a single word out. A cackle escapes her. She laughs for a long while, sometimes stopping to look at you with tears in her eyes. Eventually, she takes a breath and mutters, Good gods, what has the world come to? Thank you very much for dancing, cleric. It is very appreciated. The goblin hands you the finely interwoven flowers. They will suit your style perfectly. At least you got a quest out of it, but this humiliation. That's all for now. All right, I did not realize that. I thought a sage leaf option would pop up somewhere in there. But yeah, that's the lesson to take. Never fucking listen to strength at all. That was completely my fault. Advantages against plant-based individuals. Oh, neat. Okay, well, Actually, now I'm curious. Where would I find an emerald in this game? Just curious. I see. So it involves the crypt and thaumaturgy. And I'm assuming it's the crypt where I fought that skeleton towards the beginning of the game. So, we'll try for that. Yeah, that's the lesson to take, and that's the lesson that I would implement for any playthroughs. If you don't want to do, like, the fucking strength run, don't ever listen to strength. Strength's a shithead. Yeah. Just a bad option all around on that front. All right. So we're going to go down here. At least for that, I was able to reload that option, because that was a shit moment there. Never listen to strength. Never, ever, ever, ever. Okay, so we then equip thaumaturgy. And it's down this way, I believe. Your people's resting place. Pick me up, regain... Oh. You feel his presence. A stone coffin rests against the wall. Of classical dwarven design, used for early earthfolk tombs. The lid is sealed tight, almost built into the wall itself. Ornate carvings cover the surface, symbols of death and rebirth, all dwarven in origin, forge and hammer. Standard crypt work. Examine the coffin. You run your hand along the stone. Cold, smooth. The carvings are deep, deliberate. Something about this feels off. Look closer at the carvings. Your eyes trace the symbols carefully. Typical dwarven work. A few words of poetry. Nothing interesting. It is beautiful. It says, Gudar gar folk dor inget it undersolen. Or inget nit undersolen. Along with many other proverbs, each one personalized for the fallen. These coffins must have been closed dwarven warriors of Earth. Until their graves were exhumed, of course. Examine the handle. It is integrated perfectly into the It is integrated perfectly into the design. An iron ring serves as the grip. Rotate the handle. You grip the carved skull and twist. A soft click echoes from within the wall. Something is unlocked. Now pull the handle. The handle resists for a moment, then gives way. Oh! Revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. A cold air rushes up. Ancient. Stale. The smell of old magic. Oh boy. Even deeper, huh? Doom! You scared? I'm not feeble-minded, if that's what you're asking. Feeble-minded. The 8th level enchantment spell. It deals a destructive psychic blow to the target's mind, leaving them in a demented state. In good cases, it can be reversed with a greater restoration spell. In bad cases, only a wish spell can do anything to bring back the target from the abyss. Greater restoration. A 5th level abjuration spell. It undoes one debilitating effect from a target. This can include things like petrification, long-term curses, or most types of major ailments or diseases. While harder to cast these days, it is still commonly employed by churches and places of healing across the coast. So, yeah, I'm scared. He steels himself and grips his sling. Let's go.
Into the dark.
Save. So this is the crypt that we've been hearing about. There's another shard. Oh, whoa, hello. All right. I'm going to cast Bless. And quick save. Stepping into the hidden tomb, you see a colorful display of twinkling light through the gloomy and dusty air. An eerie altar, placed on top, a skull and several colorful gems. Valuable too. Like, extremely valuable, but probably horrendously cursed, sadly. Don't touch anything. Whatever esoteric effect is in place here, do not disturb it. Just look around. The shrine is quiet. The colorful gems cover its altar, as well as the eye sockets of the central skull. To think this sacrilegious and quite frankly ominous corner would be stashed away in such a holy place. This is Earth's original crypt, for God's sake. Is there no depth of depravity these cultists and undeath youth? Enthusiasts, that's the word. Why did I forget to read that? And undeath enthusiasts can stoop to? The skull looks deformed, doesn't it? The goblin squints. A bit. Depends on what type of skull it is, I suppose. Look at the jaw. It's all wonky in the eyes. He sighs. I don't like ripping on dead guys, but yeah. That's one wacky skull. A wacky skull? You goddamned phrenologists! As if lifted by some invisible force, the bejeweled skull rises from the altar. Its gleaming eyes twinkling in the light, its jaw chattering. The noise causes you to recoil. No way. An unending wave of dread falls upon your essence. An esoteric force. It is entering your mind. Earth, protect me. Protect you? The goblin tries to grab you, but he freezes and groans. What the hell? He falls to his knees. You barely stand. I can't move. The dread is overbearing. The skull's jaw stops chattering. As the noise disappears, you feel in control once more. Slightly. You wake me up for some trifling bullshit. You a trifler, huh? It clicks its teeth together. I thought, like, saying Earth protect me would cause me to, like, do a spell or something. What's a trifling? It's what you're doing, mortal. You're trifling, like a trifler. No, sir, please stop making that sound. I make any damn sound I like. You hear? I'm a great wizard. I'm the cleric. Cleric, eh? A cleric of a dead god. The skull lets out howling laughter as it shudders about in the air. I am Necrolord Bondavol. Ha 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 ha. Necrolord. That is a title of old demeanor. You've been unfortunate enough to encounter here a remnant of the Arcanists left to decay into this mad form. A demi-lich. A horrifying creature. A lich fallen into a state of insanity and decay, rotting into nothing but a skull. It is in many ways the dangerous variant, for its madness is unpredictable as it is dangerous. Snell, yeah, it's pretty clear. The goblin looks horrified and ready to spring into action despite the shaking legs. Wait, Viskin sent me here. The skull stops. Viskin? What are you, an apprentice? No. A slave, then? No, I don't approve of slavery. Hold on. Are you that cleric looking to speak with the dead elf?
How did you know that?
He rattles a laugh, slowly spinning in the air. Viskin let me know all about your little situation.
Oh, he did?
The demi-lich clicks once. You're not very necromantically entangled, are you?
I never managed to master that school at the towers.
Master it? No one masters it, not even after centuries of scholarship. You see, I'm not just some horny wizard. The skull drops down and flips around on the table. I am a goddamned mage.
You hear the goblin groaning. This lich is surprisingly not a threat. For whatever reasons, his intentions are far more sinister. He intends to teach you something.
Trained in the arts by Hagendim legends, sent to fight on behalf of the greatest empire in the history of Jor's Arspit. Necrolord is not some title, it's a calling, a dream of undead supremacy. One day it will be reached. You're the lucky one here, for I will help guide you to a string attunement, a necromantic attunement.
Why should I learn necromancy? Why should I want to learn necromancy?
For one, you'll be able to cast Speak with Dead without trouble. You'll also gain an appreciation of the subtle art of death magic. Doesn't that sound lovely?
Sure.
Good.
The skull is not going to kill you, but you do not have the strength to vanquish the demi-lich like this. So, later. Do it later. So what are you exactly?
Ah, you never asked, did you? I am a terrifying lich, of course.
He does not consider himself decayed. A sign of madness. Got it.
You'd have to be pretty stupid not to.
How did you end up like this?
Like what?
So, a lich?
Ah, that. Long story. I've been around since the 300s.
Fade era?
By the strings, no. Are you insane? I wouldn't be talking to you if I was a lich of the fucking Fade era. Come on. I'd be over a millennium and a half. Sorry, Arcane era. Of course. What else?
The skull pauses its rotating and focuses on you. Also, I think this may be where we get our emerald.
I'll talk your skin off, cleric.
Where did you grow up?
In a small village called Craive. We had barbarian invasions from the Vorgeni border every year. To protect them, I raised our dead from the village crypts. Those were some bloody battles, I'll tell you. Took a dozen heads before the message got into their thick giant skulls.
Who taught you necromancy?
A ghost, actually. Haunted a ruin outside my father's farmstead. Led me to my first spell book. Told me how to pull strings and fast-tracked my spell slot accumulation. Her name was Uiliana Prax. A wonderful, crazy harlot.
Where's she now? The skull does a spin.
She was captured by a high-ranking exorcist after I built my first squadron. Last I heard, she was part of some Free Strider trade prince's personal collection. Kept her in a bottle.
Trade prince, a title afforded by the free cities to the executives within the high corporations. Essentially one of the big players who run the show and reads. High corporations, a series of trade companies that help spread the Free Strider ideals across the coast. There are about a dozen of them currently, each run by a trade prince.
Like she's a genie or something. I would have gone with a fancy box myself. Or an urn.
What is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh! It's a bit embarrassing, but it has nothing to do with necromancy. Back in the war, I was to receive a commendation in Tazen. Big event, big deal. That event during the reception, I managed to seduce and charm a beautiful young lady. Turns out she was the daughter of a Hagendim Arcanist. Can you imagine?
Actually, wait,
This guy kind of comes off as like Balthazar from The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. So hold on, let me change voices on this. Let me drink some water. So obviously I married her, straight away. My father-in-law made sure I got promoted to hell and back over the next decade. Got me deep into the Arcanist circle, until the accident, of course. You married up, and that's your greatest accomplishment? So what'd you earn that commendation? What's your greatest necromancy accomplishment, then? Oh, easy. I led the animation of the Dracolich. Dracolich? Dracolich. A dragon who goes through the act of achieving lichdom. They are known to be the most terrifying creatures along the coast. Yeah, terrifying creatures along the coast, for at least 2 reasons. None are known to be alive today, publicly. A Dracolich. A Dracolich, yes. Each million Ravad. A child of Isuth. Not one you'd read about in history books, but she had spirit, that dragon. Also, ad break in 5 minutes, heads up. I wasn't a regular in the dragon cultist community, but my expertise as a lich led them to hiring me. I would have done it for free, honestly. He lets out a sinister chuckle. In the end, we succeeded. That was my greatest accomplishment, cleric. Creating one of the most fearsome creatures to ever walk the coast. What happened to the dragon? I obviously won't divulge the secret of Dracolichdom, but rest assured that Ichimirian went through hell to achieve her new form. It was a tragedy what those genie Templars did to her and her army. Otherwise, she could have easily ruled a city or 2 by now. Genie Templars? Some crazy warriors out of Gargamesh. Was a big thing 100 years ago. I am fond of dragons, you know. Mortals look up to us. Gods look down on us. Dragons treat us as equals. At least the wise ones. You married up and that's your greatest accomplishment? Arcanist politics is won in the bedroom, not on the battlefield. Don't worry, there was true love between Achalia and I. She was a great scribe of the era, that glorious woman. We didn't divorce until after a century of lichdom. Do you understand how rare that is? That was love, it was. How morbidly romantic. Last I heard, she was heading a mercantile faction in Feldtyre. He clicks his non-existent tongue. Gods be damned, I miss that lady. Her body, yes, but her mind. So what did you do to earn that commendation? Murder mostly. Once I'd mastered 9th level spell slots, I managed to create my own custom Raise Dead spell. Raise Dead, a 5th level necromancy spell. It raises a creature from the dead if the time of passing is within 10 days. It is a highly sought after spell these days, and very few are able to cast it. It allowed me to direct 100 zombies at once, and most importantly, they all had basic motor functions left. They could use tools, rifles, wands, basic magic items. It took a toll, but I alone held the line on Gorbisol for 3 days straight. Corpses as far as the eye could see. Those were the days. He sounds wistful. He is obviously evil or insane. Tell me about that accident of yours. The Lich is talking all night long, it seems. It's really not worth talking too much about. After myself and my dear wife had both achieved lichdom, I made some misplays in the politicking. Stepped on the wrong foot, so to speak. Got my entire splinter house exiled from the Hagendim coalition. One thing led to another, yada yada. I ended up in Skani. The lord of the fortress invited me to stay for a while. Did some freelancing. You know, newly divorced dad shit. I like this guy. Once Earth arrived, I ended up working with some of his paladins. Never met the fellow, but I liked the cut of his jib. I like this. Lord of the Fortress? The Lord of Verdun. The Fortress of Verdun. You know, the esoterical, shadowy, miles-wide castle? Oh, yes, that one. Never been. Can't recommend it. The Lord reached out, was looking for necromancers to add to some new tricks. Who is this Lord? No clue, but he paid well and let me research the crazy stuff going on there. Still have no idea what the fortress actually is. My professional guess would be that it's an esoteric pocket gone wild, like a slice of pure negative energy that's landed right in Escani and can't escape its bubble. Just one of many weird wonders of the coast. The Fortress of Verdun is a popular dungeoneering location. Lots of treasures to be found whenever a hole opens up. You have any kids? A dozen or so. What, really? My wife, Akalia, ex-wife, was a prominent member of the MRS, Magocrat Reproduction Society. Alright, we'll learn about the Magocratic Reproduction Society after the ad break. So 3 minutes and an hour of no pre-roll. So hydrate, stretch, do whatever you need to do. We'll be right back. This is a turn I did not expect. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. Alright, so the Magocrat Reproduction Society. What in the name of fuck is this? Magocrat Reproduction Society. A hag-centered organization in Old Deminor focused on creating artificial population booms among the Arcanists. While successful, it led to many feminist insurgencies during their reign. They were at the forefront of women-first magics. You know, the kind of stuff that makes the whole childbirthing and/or rearing business into a cakewalk. I never got along with those hags, but they did let me have 2 sons, so that's something. Are you implying that sons are better than daughters? Not really. There's an argument to be made that they're much less of a hassle. But the MRS hags definitely had an agenda, you know. More girls, more members. I'm not crazy. That sounds like feminism. I thought the Arcanists were old school patriarchs. No, yeah, it's like 12 kids. Nice job, bro. Fist bump him in the forehead. What happened to your kids? I think some of them survived the fall. My blood wasn't prominent enough to be lineage persecuted among the Freestriders. At the same time, it's not like they received any inheritance. Logically, I should have some great-grandchildren scattered about the Minori. Oh, sorry, what's it called now? Reeds? Stupid name if you ask me. They should have called it Stridery or something. That would have been on brand. Cool, that gives me a better picture of your life. Enjoy the view. Is a lich-like. Okay, tell me about Viskin. Lovely bastard. I gave him a serious case of testing. Wait, I really wish we had the opportunity to get the mass torsion spell from fucking Isk at the fucking bottom. Oh man. You know, with mentions of mass torsion being a thing, I really wish we could get that spell. I can't believe he ever forgave me. Pure evil. The skull lets out a maniacal laughter. Just out of nowhere, as a joke, trying to imagine sneaking up behind someone and doing the trolley twist. No, we had a little war going on, okay? I had just left my position at the Fortress of Verdun. It was 30-ish years ago, I believe, right when your Earthfolk had begun growing quite bold up River Torna, so I decided to sneak into your city here. That's when I saw him. An old opponent, Viskin, immediately remembered his ugly mug and his rotten soul engineering. You came to Norvik 30 years ago? Something like that. Either way, I decided to kill him and take his place among the mortals of Norvik. A couple of magic duels and assassination attempts later, and we were at a stalemate. Although I'd consider it more as me just getting tired of hunting him down all the time. Him and his goons. Our battle came to an end, though, when a local vampire started messing with us both. Threatened to expose us, so he joined up. Team up of the century. Or that decade, at least. You two fought a vampire together. Was an epic duel of the shadowy fates. The skull bounced around. Together, however, the vampire was easily eliminated. In the aftermath, we decided to work together. Viskin even helped me get this sweet alcove for myself. We share research from time to time and work together to figure out the mystery of... He stops. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about something else. Did you turn into a skull in the battle with the vampire? A skull? He makes a motion that could be interpreted as a shrug. I'm a bit bony, but a skull? Don't be preposterous. The demi-lich is clearly unaware of his own situation. He's either deluded, or there is some esoterical effect placed upon his memories. A memory-altering spell by Viskin, perhaps. Who is the vampire? Thomas Darrow was his name. The Darrows are descended from vampires? Oh my god, the fascist is descended from a vampire. Oh, how perfect. Thomas Darrow was his name, a nobleman, which made it much more dangerous. Thomas Darrow, uncle to Nicholas Darrow. Or not, well, kind of related to a vampire. Disappeared 15 years ago, and his case was widely speculated. His case was a widely speculated investigation. He's saying a Darrow was a vampire. Slander, surely. Hopefully. Fuck off, Strength. We cut him down without anyone suspecting a thing. Maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. Who cares? The mysterious death of Thomas Darrow was written about quite extensively in the magazines about 15 years ago, back when you were a kid. Ah, Thomas Darrow. So that's what happened to the lost uncle of the Darrow house. What's that about research? Nothing. That's nothing. He says nothing more. All right, I have other questions. Ask freely, cleric. Know anything about the tea shop thing? Nah. You just seem pretty well informed about goings-on around the city. I get updates sometimes, but I don't know. Fun that it exploded, though. I wouldn't say it was fun. Boring. It was probably a rogue wizard or some kind of magic item mishap. Whenever a necklace of fireballs was smuggled from the floating cities down to the peasants, they'd always find a way to blow themselves up in the most spectacular ways. Hilarious. Why didn't the floating cities blow up? Anti-magic defenses. A great architecture. Sometimes misses occurred, of course, but it was surprisingly rare, and... not every day a village exploded in a fireball. Those necklaces were valuable, but sometimes someone smuggled one away from the front lines or off a factory floor. I was never too into evocation magic for that reason. Too easy. He chuckles in a sinister way. What are you voting in the election? It goes against my ideological beliefs to vote. Democracy doesn't work. Never has, never will. Why do you say that? People are just too stupid. On average, statistically. Magocracy or technocracy might work. Hells, even oligarchy has its uses. Just look at the free striders. But real democracy is foolish. It might just help launch these other more powerful forms of governance into speed. But real permanent democracy? A shit show. Just you wait. Have you seen real democracy in action? Somewhat. The pre-Arcanist states have pretty formal democratic conventions established. They were eaten, consumed by the power of the magocracy. They could not handle the rapid change and extreme strength of the most directly controlled governments. The only reason a magocratic power did not stand on top at the end of the Coast War is because of Jor's inebriating ebbing. Terribly annoying. Ebbing what? Of course. You haven't heard of it? The Esoteric Ebb. He's speaking of the lack of powerful magic in our world. The lack of magic. We can talk about political theory all day, but if the ebbing had not occurred, the Arcanists would still rule the coast. There is no argument to be had about that. Thank the gods for that. You people were terrible for our realm. You were not there, so I will not blame you for your ignorance. Trust me, we did wonders for the coast. brought esoterical industrialization to a land of barbaric feudalism?
There's a deep question here. This demi-lich holds much knowledge, despite his mad nature. Ask him, what is ebb, truly? So, some ask if this magical fading could have caused Earth's end. It is not considered very acceptable to inquire such things, but it is a fair question.
I mean, we got the explanation from Isk that the ebb is the dampening of magic. That is the end of the nature of having a magical connection at all. Like, it's not suppression of magic like with a silent spell. It is just the near severing of it. At least that's how I understood it. I have to ask, what do you think the ebb really is? The demi-lich swirls around in the air before landing down on the altar. I say the same things most rational arcanists said, back when it was first discovered. Jor is alive. He is haunting us, taking away what he gave with his strings. As a joke, or as a punishment, or a gift, who knows? Personally, I am furious with him, if he is indeed still here watching us. That's something. The skull slowly floats up in the air again, waiting for another question. Can I have that emerald? For what? I was going to ask the local sphinx to turn it into a key for me to enter the beyond, through the Pillar of Jor. This sounds absolutely crazy. You will die by following such a road. Great! He grabs the emerald with his teeth, making a clicky noise, then tosses it into your chest. Go wild! You genuinely feel an appreciation towards this insanely stupid skull. Now, return to the Sphinx. Can you help me enter the Pillar of Jor? Nah. Internal planar travel is overrated. Go ask Viskin. That bastard keeps poking at Jor's relics. He's into that shit. I will attune with the necromancy. Oh, think. I just made that. This demi-lich believes himself to be your teacher here. He might be insane, but there's still knowledge to be had if you can decipher it. Hold out a hand. Teach me as best as you can. A school of necromancy. How do I master it? Strings are strings. They are equal, but different. You must have seen them a lot, since you have them running through your flesh in the masses. I do? He continues. A string of necromancy becomes that when it intersects with negative energy. Thus it begins to look like flesh to me, for example. I have surely as many strings going through my existence as you do, except mine are necromantic. Yours are... The skull shakes a bit. Many others. How do you deal with strings usually? When I attune with strings, I twist them. Ah, so that is how you cast your organized spells then. Necromancy is special because of that negative energy. Twisting a necromantic string would hurt naturally if you are anything but not alive. A living necromancer learns to either manage the pain through mutilation, religious fervor, physical numbness, or they learn to cut the string. Cut? Everyone uses different terminology. You might have heard it called willing the string, or mastering it. It is the step every spellcaster must go through to reach the higher tier magic. They must learn to manipulate the string's shape. The shape of the string? Yes, but it doesn't have a shape. It's just a dot. The skull laughs mockingly. Why do you think they call it a string then, dumbass? The measures change over time. You might have grabbed and twisted your strings in the moment, but cutting a string means grabbing it independently from all other parts, in the past and in the future. Don't just twist it, separate it from itself. Of course. The talk about mastering strings, it all makes sense now. The string goes through time. Manipulating it more closely requires it to be twisted only in the now, without the other baggage. Stick out your hand. Yes. Locate a string near Bondival, a pale string. Yes. Twist it. Ah, shit. That hurts. What? You twisted a string into a cure wounds, you idiot. Hurt like a, what do you say, motherfucker. Cure wounds, a first level abjuration necromancy evocation spell. It heals a target. I failed? The skull laughs intensely. You did great, cleric. Or should I say, necromancer. That was a cure wounds for sure, but a necromantic cure wounds. Instead of a cure wounds cast through sissy abjuration or hardcore flesh-melting transmutation, you now manage to simply remove the negative energy to reach the same conclusion. Healing. So yeah, the strings essentially act as like through lines in different periods of time, and one's ability to navigate the strings to cause magic is your ability to tap into future and or past contexts through the strings. God, what a... Oh. Although, yes, it did hurt like all hells, since negative energy obviously is kind of my thing here, as a glorious lich. Oh, so I mastered necromancy. An overstatement, perhaps, but you should be able to cast the one spell you're looking for at least. Speak with Dead. Finally. That's great. It would be extremely useful for the case, obviously. The skull nods. You want the spell scroll? That'd be useful, yes. The skull widens its jaw, then it coughs up a tiny spell scroll into the altar. Grab it reluctantly. Terrible. But a spell is a spell. You've earned it, my evil apprentice. As long as you use it for the selfless goals, there's no such evil in magic. There's no evil in such magic. Probably. Glorious. Another tier of magic unlocked. Even if it's just a third-level spell, this will surely lead to greater things in the future. If you have any other questions, go ahead. Speak with Dead. That's 5 questions, right? Yes, indeed. Plus, the spell does not allow the spirit to learn anything new. It just literally animates a simile of the creature. It's an extraction tool, not a way to learn information. So, if a person is being targeted by Speak with Dead and then resurrects, that person will not remember the questions or answers it gives. Not one bit. Except, of course, yes. There have been recorded instances of it happening. Rare, very rare. But only for creatures entangled so heavily in the strings of Jor that their spirit itself grows tendrils, so to speak. If the spirit lives entirely within the strings, then it theoretically could listen in on the Speak with Dead conversation. But that's entirely based on conjecture, along with some instances I've encountered during my necromantic studies. Nothing to base a worldview on, wouldn't you say? Interesting. Indeed. Good job on this. I can see you have an extreme talent for handling strings, beyond what I've seen in many youngsters. I would love to watch you burn out on a battlefield among hags and legionaries. The skull lets out a crazed laughter while spinning around in the air. Anything else you want? I'm going now. Goodbye. Shit. Wow. That was a lot. I did not expect to encounter another lich like that. I'm hitting the wrong key there. We could talk to Viskin, actually, before we wrap up, because we are close to the 3-hour mark, and I do want to keep my streams a bit shorter, so I can get some more sleep. But we have the emerald now, so we can go to Ulziz. We can go to Ulziz, but the next time I stream this game, I want to talk to the elf. I want to use Speak Undead, or Speak with Dead. All right. So I had a bunch of Asgalist and 1 Free Strider. Oh well. Like, in the end, with a lot of games like this, you're not really going to be bound to one particular way of answering questions sometimes. And it's hard to tell in your first playthrough. All right. We're going to save here and then talk to Viskin. And then after we talk to Viskin, that'll be where we stop for now. Unless he just doesn't have anything more to say. Don't have anything new. Maybe talk to Olzis about the staff and the snail person, Isk. You know, I still have yet to meet the merman guy, cause. Oh, is that him? There he is. We'll make this guy the last conversation we have for the night. A large merman sits by the sea.
Cleric,
He says without acknowledging you further. His voice is deep and bubbling. He is shocked. He does not show it, but he is. Your presence here is shocking him. What are you doing? He opens his mouth and takes a deep breath.
fishing,
He does not take his dark blue eyes off the city horizon.
Snell.
Hey, the goblin is not comfortable around the merman.
Why are you disturbing me?
I need information.
Information is expensive, cleric. As anything in Norvik.
The merman looks at you with a pair of deep eyes.
Talasos is my call. You can stand in my garden.
You live here?
No, I don't appreciate the city visiting my property without a heads up.
I apologize.
Good. But while you're just standing there, keep an eye on the second pole.
You want me to fish with you?
Yes, be useful.
The goblin gives you a look. It says, "We ain't got time, but maybe it could be useful." Oh yeah, he thinks this could be worth it. Hustling is all about networking, right? Sit down. He nods to the second pole. Look at it. You keep your eyes peeled on the tip.
They come in waves. When it happens, it's quick.
So we just wait here?
Fishing is about patience, cleric. You need to breathe, and
He takes a real long breath. And
watch.
a real expert fisherman, huh?
I have had decades of practice.
So, Snell, how do you know this guy? Talasos here? My dear landlord. The merman grumbles. He appears uncomfortable. Oh, is this guy actually rich? Try not to mention it. Son of a bitch. All right. Your belly beckons. The comment, it will slip out no matter what you do. Unless, bite your tongue. You clamp down hard. Blood fills your mouth, dripping down the corner of your mouth. Some spills to the ground. The merman glares at it as it pools before your boots. Swallow the blood. A big gulp is hard to do, but it happens. The metallic taste fills your entire being. You are feeling faint. Snell says nothing, but gives you a shocked and quite honestly sad expression.
But you did not speak.
You are bonding. Man to man. Human to merman. This is it is a very, very beautiful thing. It is very, very beautiful, this thing. Make sure to ask interesting questions about him. That will make him understand how much you enjoy this special time with him. How often do you catch something here?
These days, not often. The river guilders have swept the area clean, along with an increase of the gulls. But occasionally, I get a big one.
He leans in towards you with a stern look on his face.
Then that's dinner. Tasty.
Do you have time to sit here and fish all day?
I am very busy, cleric. However, in this particular moment, I do not have anywhere I need to be.
He's probably overestimating his workload. Man, this makes me jealous of my uncle, because when I went to see Caravan Palace, like, last April, I got to hang out with my uncle, and my uncle's apartment is near a river that kind of runs through and is relatively clean for a city river, and he's able to sometimes on his lunch break just go out and catch some smallmouth bass in there, and I'm like, man, that sounds like the fucking dream. Live near a river and just get to go over, walk to it and just casually catch some fish. I miss fishing. How many apartments do you own?
20. I handle the care of 10 others. I am primarily a caretaker, fixing leaking taps, making sure the esoteric air flow is functional, answering complaints from tenants who refuse to follow basic instructions. It is tiresome.
Well, what's the instructions that are basic? What's it like being a landlord?
Not good. The city does not have a good set of laws to protect my business, and many of my tenants do not have a good sense of fairness when it comes to housing.
Oh, big yawn. Sorry. Ugh.
They expect to live conveniently, yet if the market dictates a higher price for that convenience, they declare it a necessity instead. Makes it difficult. I have to dance on the line between evil and profitable.
Landlords make enough as it is, the merman grunts. Talasos does not want to discuss politics. Wait for an hour to see if you catch something. You do not catch anything. Just as you're about to give up, you see something tug at the tip of the pole.
Cleric!
Reel in the catch. On the other end is a rock. Talasos sighs and keeps looking at his own pole. Oh, it's something. Sure is. Good job.
Bottom scrap is everywhere here. Maybe next time.
I think I'm done fishing for now. He reaches forward and grabs the second pole, grabbing it from you while continuing to fish on his own. With a stern nod, he sends you on your way. Might be good to go. We've got a ton to do. What do you know about the tea shop?
It burned up.
What else? The merman says, stay silent for a while, then he mutters to you.
You need to find out what happened, if it is an esoteric error with a fireplace. If it happens to more units in the area, I could be affected. I will personally hold Magistrate Darrow responsible if it does.
I don't think the magistrates give a shit.
I do not either, hence the threat. Do your job. I've spoken with Miska on the topic. We both agree. You must figure out what happened, Cleric. Make sure it does not happen again.
You don't order me around.
I just did.
Fair. What are you voting in the election?
I'm voting for the Free Striders.
Why? The merman says nothing for a while.
They offer good incentive. An Asgal rent freeze would be difficult for me.
Yeah, fuck you.
The Nationalists have not been helpful in the past. I vote yellow, for now.
You landlords are so greedy. We need more free rent freezes. The people must be allowed to live on a fair wage. He grumbles. Do you have a quest for me?
No.
You are the ultimate authority on what it means to be an Asgal. Yeah. Nothing at all?
I do not have anything like that, no.
Not even a delivery or something, like a fetch quest?
No.
No secret temple that needs exploring, like a merman dungeon?
No.
Come on, you gotta have something. Everybody's got something. The merman says nothing for a few seconds, as if feigning a think. Then he says,
No.
So nothing, huh?
Nothing.
He's patient. Very much so.
Except...
Elbow Snell. See? There's always something.
My tenants have reported a strange light around the Pillar Road. With the tea shop, I do not want to take any chances. Take a look for me.
A strange light? The merman grumbles something.
If it has anything to do with the tea shop, or if it's ghosts, or if it's an esoteric event, it was reported to be spotted in the late hours, something after midnight, on the road down on the field and Pillar Road. I have no resources to pay, but if you wish to do your duty, make sure my tenants are not disturbed by such nonsense again.
I'll think about it. The merman grumbles again. Could have something to do with the tea shop, your companion says with a shrug. If we have time in the late hours, we'll keep an eye out. Though I'd prefer going to bed at a reasonable time. You wouldn't happen to know anybody in the fishing guild, would you? He glares at you.
No.
It's just, I was fished up by the river, from the river by them and brought to the Lich House, so I just wanted to check up on that whole business.
They did not bring you to Viskin. I did.
What? He stops looking at you. Wait, really? He says nothing. Oh, he nods. So you fished me up?
Yes. You were dead.
Dead?
Yes. So I brought you to the morgue, as one should. Then you come here, alive. But that is your business.
But I don't understand.
I have nothing more to say about that. You should deal with it yourself.
Yes, you should. This means there was a resurrection. Now you need to learn why. Wow, you must have gotten stuck in something really wacky here. Be careful now. Someone wanted you dead, and someone wanted you alive. That's bad. Probably. So I'm a zombie?
Yes, in a spiritual sense.
The merman focuses on his fishing. I have some personal questions.
No.
Okay,
Good.
that's all. I'm not giving him a fucking Free Strider brochure. Fuck this. All right. I think that is going to be all. So the next time we boot up here, we're going to get the key from Ulz's. We're going to cast Speak Undead on the elf. Anything else? Oh, we'll probably continue. Does this have a feed attached to it? Where is it? Okay, no, I think it was just an update. There's still like 2 quests that we have yet to do in this game, but I think they may be related to something else. There is still the milk running quest, but I think I may have missed that completely, so oh well. But regardless, I had a blast today. Like, it was a lot of talking, but I think we are on the horizon of finishing this game, everybody. And I'm kind of sad because this has been a really fun adventure. Had some genuinely cool conversations, and we got to meet a snail folk. And we're on the last paths, I think, of the game before we are done. Man, what a fascinating setting. What a cool game. Like, as I say, it's not perfect. There's some things in the writing that I think could be fixed up, and it's clear when you learn some things retroactively that it doesn't take into account when you already learned, like... But I think that might also have just been because I learned how I died way later than I actually learned about who brought me back. So that was just kind of a snafu there, but oh well. But regardless, I do enjoy this game. It's quite good, and I think it would be 1,000% worth trying out for anybody that likes these kinds of games. And I won't lie, seeing that there is merch of this game that could get you a D20 based on the cleric, that's really tempting me. That's really tempting me. I might look up how much that might be because that would be such a cool bit of merch to have. Honestly, I would really want more RPGs like this to have a set of dice available like that, because I think Citizen Sleeper had that kind of thing too, but I think maybe that special edition of the game is not available anymore, which is unfortunate, but it happens. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Whether you lurked or chatted, it really means a lot. For the VOD watchers on YouTube, I'm usually live every Tuesday through Thursday at 7 p.m. CST, at least for the summer. When I get back into my fall schedule, that'll likely change back to the weekends, but I hope to see you all when I'm live again, so be sure to keep up on my Blue Sky. That's usually where I announce when I go live. And I post when I go live on the YouTube posts as well, so keep an eye on either of those. And yeah, nothing else major to announce. So with that said, stay hydrated, keep your postures checked, be good out there, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.